Hey pre-algebra students, Mr. Giamini coming to you with lesson 6-7, volume of pyramids and cones. Today we'll get into a little more in depth about how these formulas originated, but for the purpose of this video I just want to kind of show you the formula, manipulate it so that we can then find the volume of these shapes. So the first one here I'm looking at is a cone. And recall that a lot of these formulas have the V obviously for volume, and we always have an area of the base, which is that's capital B, and we're timesing that by the height quite often. And for this one, very similar, but now we're going to times this, I'm going to put these in parentheses here, by 1/3. So you have 1/3 times base times height. So let's take a look at this cone, and let's first focus on our B, which is the area of the base. Now looking at this, I notice it's a circle, and I see that the circle has a diameter of 26, but we should recall that when working with a circle, the radius is, or the area is pi times radius squared. So now I'm just going to substitute in some numbers, and I'm going to use pi as 3 and 1400ths for this exercise, and I'm going to times that by the radius squared. Well, the radius in this case is half the diameter. Well, if the diameter is 26, half of 26 is 13, so I'm going to square 13. Okay, I continue on here. I have area of the base is equal to 3 and 1400ths. I have to use the exponents first for our multiply. 13 squared is 169. And now in my calculator I will find out what is 3 and 1400ths times 169. So 3 and 1400ths, I'm just using my calculator here on my side instead of one on the computer, times 169. And that is equal to 530 and 6600ths. Now I'm going to keep this as is. Now recall, that's just the area of the base. I now need to substitute that into my original formula. So I'm going to rewrite that formula. So now we have volume equals 1/3. We know the area of the base, it's 530 and 6600ths times the height of this. Well, the height is going from the center point of the circle all the way up to the top or apex of the cone, and that is 35. Okay, so let's now multiply 530 and 6600ths times 35, so times 35. Okay, I now have 1/3 is equal to 18,573 and 1/10. Now it says it times that by 1/3. Well, I'm going to divide it by 3, and I'm going to come up with an answer of, so this is my final answer, volume equals 6,191. And typically round this to the nearest tenth. Well, there's a 0 and then a 3, so that stays a 0 in the tenths place. And the unit of measure is centimeters, and because we're talking about volume, it is cubic centimeters. Okay, that's how to find the volume of a cone. There's my answer. Recall the formula that I began with. Found the area of the base, which was 530 and 6600ths. Substitute that in for the capital B, the area of the base, multiply that by the height, and then divide that by 3. Alright, let's take a look at another one. It's a little more challenging. I have to find the volume of this shape. Now, first thing I notice is this is actually two shapes. So I have to find two volumes and actually combine them. I see on the top here, it looks that I have to be have some kind of pyramid. So there's my pyramid, and on the bottom, the base of this shape looks to be a rectangular prism. So actually I have two different shapes. I have to find a volume of two different shapes. I have to know two different formulas here. Let's work with the pyramid on top first. So volume equals, and it's exactly like the area or the volume of the cone. Capital B, area of the base times the height. So let's substitute in here. So we know area of the base. Now this base, I will notice, the base of this is actually a rectangle. With, if this side's 12 and, or this length, this edge is 12 and 4/10, so is this edge. If this edge is 16, so is this edge. So the area of the base becomes 16 times 12 and 4/10, or it's really just the area of a rectangle. So I go 16 times 13 and 4/10. Oh, I'm sorry, 12 and 4/10. Pardon me. 12 and 4/10, and that is equal to, I have a 19, so the area of the base is 198 and 4/10. I can substitute this back into my original formula for volume here. So I'll do over here. So now we have volume is equal to 1/3. Area of the base of that pyramid is 198 and 4/10 times the height of that. Now the height is 17.5. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply these two together. So I'll still have 1/3, and let's multiply 198 and 4/10 times 17 and 5/10, or 17.5. I get 3,472. See if I multiply that right. Okay. Now we will divide that by 3. Divide by 3. And that gives me 1,157 and 3/10, and that repeats, so I'll just leave it as that. So there's the volume of my top part. So I'm done with this. Now I have to find the volume of this base. Now this is a rectangular prism. So I could look at it as area of the base times the height. I could also look at it as length times width times height. Because really the area of the base is the length times the width. So let's just substitute in here. We'll call the length to be 16. The width to be 12 and 4/10. And the height to be 14. Now somewhere I've already done this calculation. I already did it right here. So I know that these two numbers, 16 and 12 and 4/10, is really equal to 198 and 4/10, and I will multiply that by 14. So 198 and 4/10 times 14 equals 2,777 and 6/10 is the volume of that bottom shape. But I need to find the volume of the entire shape. So with these two, I will combine and add. So 1,157 and 3/10 plus 2,777 and 6/10. Let's add these together. I don't need a calculator for this. I think I do this in my head here. That is 9. I'll bring down the decimal point. That is 14. Regroup the 110. And now I have essentially 50 plus 70, which is what? 120 plus another group of 10, that's 130. Group the 100. Now I got 100. 100 plus 700 is 800, plus another 100 is 900. Now there's my answer. I'm almost done. I have to remember that the answer is cubic centimeters. So there is my final answer. All right. Hope this helps you out a little bit with finding the volume of pyramids and cones. Take care.